Our story begins in the 1870s in a still quite scattered America. We are introduced to J. Cavendish, a 17-year-old boy who has journeyed alone from Scotland to this vast and unfamiliar land. Jay's reason for this long and solitary journey is his pursuit of a girl named Rose, whom he deeply loves. Rose and her father had departed Scotland for America several months prior. Jay's destination is a remote wilderness known as the White Forest, located in the Western Territories of America. After days of travel, he encounters a disturbing scene. He witnesses a group of white Americans engaged in the violent act of shooting and killing Native Americans. The leader of this group then turns his weapon towards Jay. However, a bounty hunter named Silas intervenes, shooting and killing the man. Silas learns that Jay is heading west, and as Silas is also traveling in that direction, he offers to accompany Jay. Silas explains that Jay would be extremely vulnerable traveling alone in the west, as it is a region frequented by dangerous hunters and robbers. Jay, recognizing the wisdom of Silas's offer, pays him $50 to serve as his guide. And so, they embark on a long and arduous journey, traversing many beautiful yet isolated and often perilous landscapes. As night falls, they set up camp and prepare to rest. During this quiet time, Jay's thoughts drift back to his memories of Rose in Scotland. We are shown a flashback depicting Jay and Rose playing near a Scottish beach. In these memories, Jay's affection for Rose is clear, though Rose seems to regard him only as a friend. During their travels, Jay and Silas make a stop at a general store situated near a serene lake. Outside the store, they notice wanted posters displaying the faces of two individuals, John Ross and Rose Ross, with a reward of $2,000 offered for their capture. Like many other bounty hunters, Silas is drawn to the potential reward. He sees the opportunity to acquire the substantial sum of money. Just then, another bounty hunter emerges from the store, carrying a large weapon. The man mounts his horse and rides away. Jay, however, remains uninterested in the wanted poster and the bounty hunters, and simply follows Silas into the general store. Inside the shop, Silas purchased supplies and ordered some food. Jay, deciding to refresh his appearance, chose to buy new clothes and entered a small wooden changing room. While he was inside, a Swedish couple entered the store. They appeared to be struggling financially and resorted to stealing. As the shopkeeper attempted to intervene, the man brandished a revolver, while his wife began to gather items from the shelves. Silas observed the unfolding scene without intervening. Suddenly, the shopkeeper produced a shotgun and fired, striking the man. In retaliation, the woman shot and killed the shopkeeper with a small handgun. Silas then instructed the woman to take what she wanted and leave. However, she turned her weapon on Silas, recognizing him as the sole witness to the robbery and the shootings. Just then, Jay emerged from the changing room, revolver in hand. To protect Silas, Jay shot and killed the woman. Upon exiting the shop, they encountered the couple's two young children who were waiting outside. Jay was deeply affected by the children's loss and gave them many of his belongings before continuing his journey with Silas. That night, Jay struggled to sleep, haunted by the events of the day. Another flashback revealed a past encounter with Rose. Jay had visited her home and proposed, but Rose explained that their families were too different and that she had always viewed him as a younger brother, leaving Jay heartbroken. Moments later, Rose's father, John, returned home with friends. Rose quickly hid Jay under the bed to avoid any family conflict. Jay remained hidden for hours as Rose prepared a meal for her father and his companions. Unbeknownst to them, Jay was a prince from a prominent Scottish royal family. His father, a powerful landowner, arrived at Rose's home, shocking John and his family. Jay's father forcibly removed him from under the bed. Jay refused to leave, declaring his love for Rose. In a fit of anger, Jay's father struck Rose, and in an attempt to protect his daughter, John pushed him, causing his accidental death. However, Rose and John were blamed for the death, and the Scottish royal family placed a bounty on their heads, now amounting to $2,000 American. Unable to return to Scotland, Rose and John fled to America, prompting Jay to follow in search of. The following morning, Jay, still troubled by the shooting, decided to part ways with Silas, whom he now perceived as a dangerous criminal. Before Silas awoke, Jay gathered his belongings and horse and departed. After traveling some distance, Jay encountered a friendly, solitary man living in a remote camp. This man, a writer working on a book, offered Jay food and invited him to stay for the night. They spent hours talking around a bonfire, and Jay found himself enjoying the solitude, no longer missing Silas. The following morning, Jay awoke to find the solitary man and his camp gone. He quickly realized the man had stolen his belongings and horse, and he cursed his own naivety for trusting a stranger. As hunger began to weaken him, Jay resorted to eating wild mushrooms, but Silas reappeared on horseback, stopping him. He explained that the mushrooms were addictive and provided Jay with bread. Jay felt deeply ashamed for leaving Silas, especially as he realized he would have perished without him. Silas forgave him, and their bond deepened into a genuine friendship. They resolved to continue their journey westward together. Silas decided it was time to reveal to Jay that the Rosses whom Jay sought were the very individuals with the $2,000 bounty he had been pursuing. One day, while Silas was shaving, his old acquaintance, the notorious bounty hunter Payne, arrived with alcohol and glasses. Payne, who led a large gang, had been Silas's associate years prior. However, Silas had left due to Payne's and his gang's violent tendencies. Payne offered them drinks and they spent the evening reminiscing. As Payne and Silas discussed their past, Jay wandered to a nearby bonfire where Payne's gang was gathered. Payne informed Silas that he knew Jay was searching for Rose, and he warned Silas that he intended to follow them until he found Rose and John. He threatened to kill Jay if necessary, leading to a heated argument between him and Silas. Jay returned to Silas, and after Payne departed, they both fell asleep, heavily intoxicated. The next morning, they discovered that Payne and his gang had left, and due to a heavy rainstorm, all their belongings were soaked. As they hung their clothes to dry on their horses, Jay noticed that Payne and his gang were still following them. Silas explained that all the bounty hunters were after Rose and John due to the substantial reward. To evade Payne and his gang, they entered the dense and dangerous White Forest, known for its Native American hunters and wild animals. Silas believed Payne would be deterred from following them into the perilous terrain. The scene shifted to a secluded farm where Rose and her father John lived. They were aided by a Native American helper named Katori, who provided them with food and supplies. A knock on the door revealed a man claiming to be from the local church. John, despite Rose's suspicion, assured her they were safe as no one knew their whereabouts. This man was the same bounty hunter Silas had encountered in the shop, and he had come to confirm their identities. He then concealed himself in the fields, preparing to snipe them. In the forest, Silas and Jay encountered hostile Native American tribal hunters who attacked them with arrows. They fled the jungle and spotted the house on Rose and John's farm. Jay recognized it as Rose's home, and to protect him, Silas tied Jay to a tree and approached the house alone. Outside, as John worked, the bounty hunter shot and killed him, alerting Rose and Katori. Silas arrived and warned Rose, but the hunter also shot him, injuring him before he fled. Payne and his gang arrived, killing the sniper hunter and then opening fire on the house, attempting to kill Rose. Rose and Katori armed themselves and defended their home. The sound of the gunfire reached Jay, who broke free from his restraints and rushed to Rose's aid. He entered the house from the rear, where Rose, mistaking him for an attacker, shot him. Katori provided Rose with her rifle. Katori then emerged, using his bow and arrows to kill many of Payne's men and setting the house ablaze, creating a smokescreen for Rose's escape. Inside, Rose realized she had shot Jay, who had come from Scotland to find her. She was devastated. Outside, Katori was killed by Payne's gang. With his gang eliminated, Payne entered the house and aimed his revolver at Rose, but she gave her revolver to Jay, who then shot and killed Payne. Jay succumbed to his wounds. Silas, injured, entered the house and found Jay's body. He told Rose that Jay had loved her deeply and had proven it with his life. Rose's life was finally safe. The final scene showed the bodies of Payne's gang, Katori and John, outside the house. Some months later, Rose adopted the two orphaned children from the store robbery, and Silas, like Katori before him, was now protecting Rose and her home. Here's the movie end, and thanks for watching.